Hey everybody, it's Christian, and I'm here with another review, and this is my third well, it's more of a rant. That's what I've been naming them because they're not real reviews, let's be honest here. So this is my third rant, and it's I did anime for the first one, I did video games for the second one, so I guess I'll cycle the music, and I've been skeptical about doing music, especially because I have no experience in in musical theory or anything like that. I played music for a really long time. I've listened to music since I was a kid, like most people, but I feel like I'm not qualified to give an accurate review on music. I could give an accurate review on a game because you don't really need skills for that. You just fucking go at it, but you need to know song structure and stuff. So I'm gonna give a review that comes more from my favorite band since I know more about them than anything. Muse, and I want to review their full album, but I'm not going to do it not not the album as a whole, but I'm going to do like a song by song breakdown. Hopefully that'll make it a little different, maybe a little more entertaining, maybe a little more helpful. I don't know. So the album's Drones, and they released it June 8th. I bought that shit the second it dropped. Love it. It's a lovely album. I really enjoy it. I one of my favorites right now. Maybe that hype will die off, but I don't know. I really enjoyed it. But here's a song by song breakdown. I'll try to do it as unbiased as possible, since I do know Muse quite a bit, and wish me luck, man. So the first song is Dead Inside, and Dead Inside is it's interesting. Most of the songs on this album are rock, but this one I think is the strongest display of Matt's vocal abilities. He really is something else. The song starts off with a very loud dead inside, which I use a lot to describe my life. Uh, but after that, it goes into a very high, he's hitting those very zesty falsettos that he likes to hit, and I love listening to that. But where the first part of the song really shines for me is when he goes, "Unleash a million," but he does it in his falsetto, and that kills me. I love it. It sounds so fantastic and bone chilling. Unleash a million drones, and that alone could make this song for me. And it continues on a pretty good path. The guitar solo is a little choppy, it's a little corny sounding, I suppose, but it's not bad. It breaks up the action, and then it goes into the second verse. Second verse is similar to the first one, minus the bone-chilling "Unleash a Million Drones" line, and then he goes into a bridge, I suppose, and then he the bridge, the vocals on the bridge are very nice. It sounds desperate, almost like he's pleading for this person to be alive again. And then after that, in the outro, you can hear that he's becoming dead inside himself due to this person, and it's really sad. It's very tragic sounding. And that it's a great song. It does it very well. It paints the story in a good way. It could have been worse. It could have been very bad. They could have fucked this up seriously, made it sound really cheesy, but I think they did a very good job of handling this song. So I love Dead Inside. If I could rate it and give it an 8 out of 10. Psycho is the next song. Well, if you have it on iPod, there's a Drill Sergeant intro, and that'll remind some of you of Full Metal Jacket. It's a lot of people. It's been criticized for being kind of cheesy, the voice acting, but it's not bad. I mean, drill sergeants aren't supposed to sound exactly like dramatic. They're supposed to be sharp and loud, like a dog, and this guy does it great. I enjoyed it. And then the song Psycho starts with this riff, and you might have heard it before. They do it live as like a filler. And so it's been criticized also for being very cheesy and very corny, very choppy, very like lackluster, but I actually really enjoy this riff for that, for pretty much those reasons. It's very simple, very groovy, it hypes up crowds like nothing else. You'll get the crowd going, they do that really well live, but not live. I mean, even then, it's like, it sounds like a great marching tune, like an army of drones marching to this. It's just outstanding in that aspect. love that picture, that mental picture that it paints, and then it gets into the first verse, and it's like, love, it gets you nowhere, and it sounds really good. I like how Matt sings as like the antagonist. This one, he sings as like the drill sergeant, saying that he's gonna make him and break him. It's very cool because usually Matt sings as the protagonist in his songs. Like in Dead Inside, he sings as the guy becoming dead inside. In Reapers, he sings as somebody criticizing the use of drones. Handler, he's breaking free from his handler. But in Psycho, he's singing as the guy saying that, he's saying he's gonna break him and make him a fucking psycho and shit. And although it's a jab at the military, and the lyrics don't bother me, that I'm not offended, like, oh, how dare he say that, because it's not completely wrong. And a lot of men will agree with, like, it's very true what the military does to make you a perfect soldier. But and I like that he takes a jab at that. I like that Muse does this through this entire album. It's good because most bands nowadays won't do that. And anyway, so into the verse, which I don't know. This song has got a lot of criticism, but I feel like this one's been hit hardest since he literally just goes, "Your ass belongs to me now, wow, wow." Oh, and that's the chorus. That's the entire chorus, and I I like it. I think it sounds sexy. That's my critique on it. It's a very sexy sounding chorus. It's very simple, very sexy. It's hot. It doesn't have to be it doesn't have to be some complex chorus. It's just simple, and I like that. It makes him sound very evil. And the thing is, I really can't. The only I This is where I think this song falls short. There's nothing else to the song. I mean, it just repeats another verse, same thing, another chorus, same thing, a little bit of a break with bass, and then back into the same riff that's played behind the verse, and then into the chorus again. A solo. It's not a bad solo. I like it. It's got a nice build, but I would have preferred it without the drill sergeant in the background. I think that was quite annoying. I didn't enjoy that. And then it goes into another chorus outro where he goes, "Your ass belongs to me now," and then he just sings the chorus again right after that. And I mean, it's a good song. It's very catchy. I've listened to it a lot. I enjoy, but objectively speaking, it's not their best work. So I gotta give it a solid 6 out of 10. I mean, biased, I'd give it a 9 because I fucking love this song. But logically speaking, it's not that great of a song. So let's move on to Mercy. Mercy's the next song in the album, and it's the song that I can see being played on the radio a lot. It's got the piano that twinkly piano that sounds I mean, it is the same thing used in Starlight. The rest of the song, it talks about conspiracies and the Illuminati and whatnot, hackers. I mean, at least the music video describes a hacker trying to break free from the system, trying to get away from the men in cloaks, and he's tired of being hypnotized in another puppet show. It's very anti-government, very deep lyrics, and it's not a bad song. It uses Matt's vocals again a lot like Dead Inside, maybe not as much, but the thing is, instrumentally, the song is so sparse. It has nothing, no solos, no breaks, no riffs. It's just completely sparse with that kind of thing. And Muse is great at that. Matt has so much instrumental talent. All three of them do, Chris Dunn, but they don't utilize that at all. It's very sad to see them waste it, because Mercy is a good song. I enjoy his vocal work, but if they could just add something to go along with that, that'd be great. They don't, though. So I give Mercy a 4 out of 10. I mean, let me clarify. I give them low grades, but I love all the songs on this album. I mean, it's a great album. It's beautiful. But I'm just trying to give it grades based on the best quality songs on the album. So, Reapers is the next song, and Reapers is something else. I love this song. I fucking adore it. I think it's sexy. I think it's fantastic in instrumental and vocal fashions. It starts out with a very the riff reminds me of Thunderstruck by AC/DC, but that's just me. That probably not 100% accurate, but and then it leads into this the first verse, and the verse is not exactly my favorite. It sounds like it's going to go into a darker sort of sounding song in a minor tone, like, but then it jumps into this very upbeat sound. And at first I was skeptical because it's a song about drones and reapers and how they're wrong, and killing behind remote control makes you lose empathy. And they jump in this upbeat tune. It's very different. It's but it's very nice. I like how they mixed a very serious topic with a very a very groovy sounding song. I very enjoy it, and then the chorus is really cool. I love how he pulls it off. Yeah, I mean, it's really cool seeing him hit those falsettos and sing the sing these lines like, "You've got the CIA, babe, but all you've done is brutalize." And then he sings later on the second verse, he switches it up a little bit. He'll sing, "You killed by remote control and the world is on your side." And then you got the Reapers and Hawks. And if you don't know what Reapers and Hawks are, they're you got your Reaper drone and your Hawk drone. That's what he's talking about there. And then the solo. Now, at first the solo, I don't know, it seemed a little sparse. It seemed like it felt very empty. It was very choppy. It didn't flow into itself. It cut itself up into little pieces. Like it would have different sections. But then the last part of the solo is something else. Like I love it. I love how it sounds. It goes, and then it adds in that like robotic sort of singing voice, which has been going on through the whole song. Like it's very creepy, very menacing. And then the outro it goes back to that darker feel that I was talking about that the first chorus and the second chorus had. It gets rid of that groovy tone, and then that outro with those robotic voices talking over each other. That's fucking freaky. I love it. I'm very glad at I love what they did with this song. If my only critique would be the solo could use more, and I give it an 8 out of 10. I love it. It's great. The Handler is the next song, and I think it's a consensus amongst fans that this is the best one on the album. Maybe the Globalist for some people, but the Handler, it goes back to the roots more, like distorted guitar, that evil dark sound, like sort of like Fury had. It's very very gritty. I really like it. It starts out with this very dark intro, and when I had first heard this, I was like at a restaurant. I ran back home and I heard this shit, and I was astounded. I did not see this coming from this album, which the first singles they released were all very upbeat. Reapers, Psycho, Dead Inside, and Mercy. They sounded a little more upbeat, and this one hit hard and it hit powerful. Like this one was and I agree with fans. I think this is the best song on the album. The first verse uses dark sounding echoes, and then robots where it's like, "I have been programmed to obey." That's all distorted and scary sounding. I really enjoy the way he says programmed and that shit. And then the chorus comes, and well, the pre-chorus, I suppose. Yeah, the chorus, and then he sounds very desperate, like, "Leave me alone. I must dissociate myself from you." And he hits that strong falsetto, and then it goes into the transitions into the second chorus or second verse. I'm getting my shit mixed up. It transfers into the second verse, which sounds it's I mean, it's pretty much the same. No guitar this time. A couple of chicken scratches between bass riffs, and it's the same minus like the creepy program to obey, but it still does its job. It still does it very well. It goes into the second verse. Or the second chorus, god fucking damn. Goes to the second chorus. Chorus is just as strong as it was before. I enjoyed it. And then at the end of the chorus, instead of when it hits its falsetto, it does like a Yeah, yeah, da, 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 da. I love that. I think the way he does that with Muse, with his Matt's incredible voice, he's able to pull that off very well. The solo is the only part of the song that sounded a little. It was a little overdrawn. It was good. I liked it. I liked the idea that it had I don't know how to pronounce this. I'm gonna fuck it up. But Toccata de Fuege in T minor. Oh Jesus! But it had that kind of sound to it, and it was good. But I felt it went on a little longer than it needed to. They could have added something else in there other than that. You know what I'm saying? That was the plug-in baby shit. But but you know what I mean. And then it goes into like its final outro, and I like the outro a lot. He's like finally breaking free in the way he does things that it sounds very good, like very relieved, like I won't let you control my feelings anymore. And then he goes into the outro and does that thing I mentioned earlier with his falsetto, the yeah, and then that's when they use the first guitar riff. They use the and they use that in the outro, and it brings back that gritty feeling that the intro did. And I mean, it does a great job of it balances itself really well. It goes back to their roots, and that's why this song is considered the best on the album. I give it a 9 out of 10. I enjoy it. So the next song is Defector and the JFK speech. The JFK speech, I mean, I I like JFK. What can I say? It's a good speech, and it can. I'm not sure it conveys their. I'm not sure it conveys the message the album's trying to get along right, but I think it does its job. I think it's supposed to say how they abandoned that sort of the ideals that JFK held so dearly. And I don't know if they're taking stabs at the JFK shooting conspiracies, but knowing Muse, they totally could be. But anyway, the song itself will bring you back feelings from the resistance. The first, it starts with the chorus. It's very epic, very Queen inspired. Well, I mean, it's very strong. It comes on very strong. And at first, I didn't enjoy it as much, but I slowly and then very quickly started to like that epic feeling that was lost in what people considered to be one of Muse's worst albums, The Resistance. And I'm glad they brought it back this way. It sounded very powerful. The verses were he sounded cocky singing, and I liked that. He sounded very cocky. It's like, you thought I was weak, but you got it wrong, bitch. Look into my eyes. I'm a defector, and I think the way he sings those and the way the lyrics are very triumphant, and he's like, I'm free, yes, I'm free from society, and the way he's able to do that thing, it sounds like the protagonist of this album story is finally getting his shit together and doing it. And the way he sings it makes it sound like the protagonist is very cocky and like he's like, I'm fucking defeat you, bitch. So, and then it gets into the solo, which reminds me immediately of the intro to the instrument to the intro of Uprising, which I'm glad to hear again. I like that instrument, and the solo does it just fine, and then it does the chorus again, and then it does the solo again, and as an outro, of course. But I this is the only thing. I guess it was a little bit repetitive with how many times they use that fucking chorus, but I guess maybe that was to emphasize how the triumphancy of this whole situation. I enjoyed the song, but it didn't really explode to me like it could have, so I give it a 7 out of 10. Revolt is the next song on the album, and what many consider to be the worst song on the album. It's the big freeze of this album, the guiding light of this album, and I could totally see that. It's very upbeat rock, very kind of cheesy in areas. especially the beginning. The beginning is what really made me disappointed. The had we get in so much trouble. It was kind of like that first verse. Like, what the fuck were they trying to go for? It was a real mess up. But as the pre-chorus is what really got me, and I enjoyed that quite a bit. I enjoyed the sound he used, and then the you felt pain, you felt love, and then he goes into the very powerful you can revolt, and I'm not sure I really dug that. It had nothing else to it, just you can revolt, but I guess he was using his very powerful vocals to sing a very powerful one-worded chorus, and it was very lackluster. The second verse was relatively the same. However, there are there are there are lines in there that I enjoy, and there are pitches he hits that I also enjoyed, and then the same verse, and then the guitar solo, which was incredibly mediocre. I mean, it was just a mediocre song in general. Nothing to it, nothing really special. I compared to the songs and the rest of this album, I'd give it a 3 out of 10. I mean, it's their weakest song on the album, definitely, but it's not bad though. It's quality wise, it's not an awful song. It's enjoyable, especially to somebody who's not a Muse fan. They would eat this shit up. Aftermath is next song, and it's very enjoyable. It's very sad. It sort of sounds like everything they've accomplished so far, from the Handler where he breaks free, to Defector where he's fucking shit up, to Revolt where he revolts, and then it seems like Revolt sort of just failed and the Aftermath happened. But and it sounds sad at first. It has like a like a cheesy like 80s synth going on, and I kind of like it, honestly. I kind of like how Muse brought that back, and then it goes into the verse. Is very sad, like I was saying. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention in the beginning. There's like a creepy choir thing going on. I like that. I think it's very ominous. Anyway, back to the verse. Very sad. Very like grow inside of fight. Like everything they've accomplished so far is starting to finally get to them, and I'm glad to see they did that. Like after 3 songs of triumphancy, they did need to show how it's getting to them, and they did that. The verse, or God, fuck, the chorus is very touching. Like is very sad. Like this song sparks some serious emotion in me, and I love the choruses. I like the last chorus. The last chorus sort of reminded me of Explorers, which I didn't dislike Explorers, but it's just the way they mixed all the vocals together and sang the same chorus, and then fluctuated his voice a little bit. Otherwise, though, not much to the song. I mean, it's not bad. It's not fantastic, but it's very sad, very, but then very touching. So I enjoyed it, but objectively, I'd have to give it like a 5 out of 10 or a 6 out of 10. Probably a 6. And yeah, okay. The Globalists is the next song, and this is the song of the album everybody's talking about. The sequel to Citizen Erased, and that 10-minute masterpiece. And you could kind of actually see it as a sequel to Citizen Erased. Like, I could totally see it with the tune after the whistling scene. Definitely. I think it's in the same chord. It sounds sort of like the sequel to Citizen Erased at that point. They sing the whistling intro, which will remind you of like cowboy films, Kill Bill, stuff like that, and Django, what have you. And then it goes into the next chunk of the song, which is enjoyable. I mean, it's just some guitars, some like tune, yeah, and I mean, it's nothing like bad. It's really, I mean, I enjoyed it. I enjoyed that sound that they did there. And then it gets into the first vocal, and the vocals, I like it. I like what they're describing. They're describing what most believe to be the globalist, who, if you didn't know, he's like the big head honcho of the Illuminati sort of guy. I don't know a lot about the Illuminati, but I'm pretty sure that's what the globalist is. And he's saying he's never been loved. He hates everybody. He's become cold, and he wants to destroy everything. And then at the end of that very dark sounding time, he says he gives him the code, and you should be able to know what the code means, the nuclear launch codes. And then there's like some creepy vocal remix, and it goes into this hardcore guitar riff, which at first could sound a little cheesy, but then after this countdown, you're like, oh, what's gonna happen? And then at the end of the countdown, it happens. It sounds very cool. It's like it builds up well. I think I enjoyed the build up it did, and I think it does justify itself at the end. That first intro does justify what it builds up to, and then it goes into the piano ballad, and the piano ballad also sounds a lot like Explorers. It's very happy, even though the lyrics are very depressing. Like, I think I destroyed them all, in reference to the countries he just destroyed with all the nuclear launch codes. And what he's saying is the world is becoming a hunting and gathering society again, which is kind of cool, actually. He destroyed everything, so they have to just hunt and gather memories, the great nations they were. And then it goes into like just the vocals, like, and they do that for a little bit. I can imagine like a crowd of people waving lighters to that. It's a very pretty sound. And then the last bit, and then the outro, which is I just needed to be loved, which is they sing that very well. Overall, it's a very enjoyable song. It had a lot to it. I mean, sometimes it can be hard. I don't know if the amount of time it takes is really needed. It could have added more. It could have added a lot more to that last bit. The last bit was where it was weakest. It should have built up into something more, but it was still a very beautiful song, and I'd give it a solid 8. I enjoyed The Globalist. And then The Globalist, if you notice, it doesn't really conclude. It goes into Drones, which is the last song. And although this song doesn't have a lot to it, it's just some acapella shit, and it's not that great, but I do like that it sort of sounds like a TV advertisement for drones, especially when he says, you can now kill from the safety of your home with drones. And that's where it's really beautiful. When he says amen and it closes out with organs, it does leave you satisfied with the rest of the album. It makes me like, oh wow, that's it, because you can really see the story painted throughout the entire album, and then Drones closes out well. I won't rate Drones, since I wouldn't consider it a song. If I did, I'd give it like a 5 out of 10 or some shit, because it wasn't that good. But it was really beautiful. It closed out the album really well and made you feel like satisfied. Sort of like ending a video game or finishing a story. It's like, wow, that's it then. And it was something else. The entire album was pretty impressive. I liked it. It wasn't what fans were hoping would be the return of old Muse, but if you want the return of old Muse, you could just go listen to old Muse, because it's still there, it's still available. You can listen to Origins of Symmetry and Absolution still. It was a good album. Those are just my opinions on each of the songs and what I think they deserved. Did you agree? Did you disagree? Do you hate me still? Good. Alright, later, man.